This is the STV News. Good evening. The leader of the Scottish Conservatives is urging supporters of the Union to back his party to defeat the SNP in this year's election. Douglas Ross told his party's conference in Aberdeen the vote is about the future of the nation as he outlined his priorities. Well, here's our political correspondent, Ewan Petrie.
Despite polls suggesting a drop in support, delegates here remain confident they can win target seats in this year's election. Douglas Ross was welcomed on stage by a former SNP MP who defected to the Conservatives. Then he explained why he believes the party can make further gains.
It's beyond clear that there is only one party standing up for the jobs of oil and gas workers, standing up for Scotland's economy, standing up to protect our transition to net zero, delivered here in Aberdeen, standing up for the North East, and that party is the Scottish Conservatives.
Douglas Ross set out his party's priorities, including 1,000 extra GPs and police officers, both devolved issues. With no mention of Labour, the party's Scottish leader spent much of his speech focused on the SNP and the record of Humza Yousaf.
His days in office are numbered. Doubts are growing, not just across the country as we hear on a daily basis, but within his own party as well. Even the SNP are starting to realise that Humza Yousaf is a dud. Now, we already got rid of Nicola Sturgeon. Let's use this general election to shove Humza Yousaf out of the door.
While this election will not determine the next First Minister, Douglas Ross insisted it will be a battle for the soul of Scotland. He made a direct appeal to supporters of the Union to back his party to defeat the SNP.
Let's bring down the curtain on the SNP Scotland, on a decade of division, and let's take Scotland forward to a better future together. Thank you very much.
What's likely to be his final address to Scottish members ahead of an election, Douglas Ross's focus was always going to be on attacking the SNP. But with the North East a key battleground in this election, it's clear the party also sees energy and tax as big issues in the campaign. Ewan Petrie, STV News, Aberdeen.
Scotland's police watchdog will investigate the handling of a murder in Aberfeldy after officers didn't notice the victim's gunshot wounds. The death of 65-year-old Brian Lowe was originally treated as medical or non-suspicious until a post-mortem nearly a week later revealed he had been shot. Hundreds of protesters marched across Scotland today in yet another day of action calling for a ceasefire in Gaza. Pro-Palestinian crowds gathered in Dundee, Edinburgh and Aberdeen calling for a break in the fighting, while supporters in Glasgow marched to the venue hosting the World Indoor Athletics Championships. The Chief Executive of the Scottish Football Association, Ian Maxwell, has admitted a lack of information and delays for fans inside stadiums during VAR checks is far from ideal. Mr Maxwell was speaking following the AGM of football's lawmakers IFAB, which was being held near Loch Lomond this afternoon.
Totally appreciate the frustration. It's far from ideal. Sometimes think, checks require a bit of time to get through that, and we need to work on opportunities to increase the engagement and understanding of why that's happening. But again, it's a journey. VAR's it's been in for a while. It's not been in too long in Scotland, and we're working through that process with the rest of football.
Well, sticking with football, and there were 5 games in the Scottish Premiership this afternoon. Motherwell pulled off a stunning victory over Rangers. The Steelmen's dramatic 2-1 win over the league leaders is the first at Ibrox that they've had in 26 years. Well, elsewhere, St Mirren sealed a last-gasp result over Aberdeen. Hibs beat Ross County 2-0. Dundee and Kilmarnock drew 1 each, while St Johnstone and Livingston couldn't be separated in Perth. And finally to athletics, and Gemma Reekie has reached the 800-metre final at the World Indoor Championships in Glasgow. The 25-year-old Scot delighted the home crowd with this push into pole position. The final takes place tomorrow night. Well, that's all from us for the moment. We'll be back tomorrow at the later time of 6:15. From everyone here, enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye for now.